When you think about sports and fitness, there's always a few brands that come to mind right off the bat. Don't even have to think about it. But when you're thinking about sports eyewear, there's really only one brand that stands out head and shoulders above the rest. And that brand is Oakley. And today we'll go and speak to Collin Allin, head of brand for Oakley, about what is going on in their world right now. Collin, thank you for seeing us today and making space in your really, really busy calendar. What is it about the Oakley brand that made you decide to devote your career to Oakley?
I think when I was younger, I said to my mom, I want to work for 5 brands. And I knew at a very young age that sport was going to be a big pillar in my life, as it has been for 40 odd years. And Oakley was one of those brands. And I think growing up in South Africa, it was basketball. We were playing basketball. We were all trying to slam dunk when we were 15, 16 years old. And obviously Michael Jordan, was everybody's hero and still one of my heroes. And they were all in Oakley, right? Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan in the 90s was Oakley was kind of everywhere. And I think it's just the absolute dedication to disruption, the absolute because we can. And that's one of my favorite sort of answers to a question. Sometimes, well, why did you do that? Because I can, right? So I think, and Oakley embodies all of that for me. And we have a saying at Oakley is like, Oakley's not where I work, it's who I am. And I live the brand. I love the brand. I've collected products from when I was 16, 17. So I've got a double cabinet at my house.
Yeah, you've got 170 pairs.
Probably more by now because it keeps getting added to every week or two. But yeah, and I've got the original stuff from 1983 when we launched eyewear, right through to modern pieces, and I wear them all. And so it's just, I think in a way maybe Oakley chose me, right? I don't know. It's not like I set out to kind of be here. It's just the way the universe worked.
Well, that's amazing, though. The one that you have, there's one very iconic pair of glasses. The one with the tentacles, was it like the
Medusa?
The Medusa.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever go out and actually
100%. I wore them. We launched the Japanese AFA collection at Frame in D3 probably 3-4 weeks ago, and I wore them then. So when the weather's nicer, because it's full leather, right? It's handcrafted leather. It's very warm. So when the weather's cold, I go and run 10K runs in Dubai with them, and just freak people out, right?
So, but you've always been a very fit and active person, right? Yeah. And your wife Hilda the same. I imagine the girls are by default.
Yeah,
really
my 3-year-old's already got 3 bikes.
There we go. So, but your schedule is insane, right? Yeah. Like, where are you going next month?
So next week, I'll fly to Frankfurt, and then to Milan, then to Athens, then to Paris, then to London, and then home. So that's over a 5-week period.
Hard life. But so
all work there.
But how do you keep fit and active in such a busy schedule? I mean, you've got so many people that go and say, "Oh, I don't have time. And you seem to always have time to fit that in. How do you do that?
I think it's a way of life, right? Like, I think for me, being fit and healthy is not something I really have to think about or work at. I wake up naturally in the morning and want to do something, and I think it's from a very young age, having been active, it's just who I am. And I've always done some level of sport. I was competitive at quite a few different disciplines as a kid, at school and outside of school. And I think it's about making time. And it's girls are very good at this. They're always like, "Oh, he's not texting me back, and it's been 2 days." And the answer I always give them was like, "If you were important enough, he would have sent you a message," right? Which obviously they don't like very much, but it's exactly that if it's important to you, you'll make the time, you'll find the time. And you can wake up 20 minutes earlier, you can always find 20-30 minutes.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, that's not enough time to do something." Get on an assault bike for 20 minutes and tell me that's not enough time. Do push-ups for 20 minutes or pull-ups for you can't, right? Like even jumping jacks or even just walking for a lot of people for 20 minutes. So I always say I run when I travel. I always throw in my running shoes, and it's a great way to kind of explore the city that I'm in, or just meet up with friends in the morning, go for runs. And because we travel so much, the time zones are often very different. So I'm often awake at 4 in the morning wherever I am because of the time zones.
Yeah.
And then that's a great way you're on your own. And for me, one of my favorite things is just your thoughts on a quiet street jogging. Like, it doesn't have to be fast. It's just that doof, doof, doof,
Yeah.
doof. And I find it very therapeutic and sort of my headspace when the rest of the day is quite crazy. And a lot of times I think I exercise in the morning because it gives me that moment to kind of plan my day. So while I'm riding or I'm exercising, I'm already starting to put my day together and remember things I need to do. And so when I actually sit down and start working, it's already kind of all planned out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a choice. I think look, I'm a lot heavier and fatter than I normally am at the moment. Life's been particularly crazy, and I also have a 3-year-old that's very demanding on time, and so I don't get to do as much as I would like, but I make sure that at least every day we do something.
Yeah.
And we're instilling that with our kids. So now when I get home, it's a bit hot, but normally at about 6 o'clock, my daughter and I either go down to the pool or we go for just a walk around the neighborhood, so she sees me going riding in the morning, or, get up at 4 o'clock and go riding. She sees me when I get back and where have you been? What have you done? So I think it's important that we instill that.
Yeah.
And the great thing about sort of sport and exercise is that it's about time management.
Yeah.
And it's one of my superpowers that I have in being able to do the job that I do is because I have very good time management skills. And I think that's probably the thing I'm best at is time management. And I think a lot of that comes from sport, from dedication, from having to be somewhere at a certain time to do certain things, follow training programs, listen to coaches, dedication.
Imagine not arriving on time for a coaching session. Your coach, if you're a professional player, I remember getting to a cricket practice and I was late once.
You only
I was
do it once,
never
right?
late again, ever.
Exactly.
So you learn those skills. You're right.
No, and I think it's skills that are very transferable to the rest of life, right? And I think time is the one thing you can't buy. It's the one thing you can't get back. And so if I have a meeting with someone, I'm generally there 5 minutes early because I do not want to waste somebody else's time, because I think that's one of the most disrespectful things you can do. So I think time management, and a lot of people are bad at it. And it's one thing my wife and I argue about a lot, is because we don't need to be there 5 minutes early. I'm like, yes, we do.
We do.
So, and for cycling, I mean, if you arrive, if I say we leave at 6, we're actually leaving at 5:59, right?
Yeah.
And if you arrive at 6:01, you're chasing, and it often turns into a time trial session for you if you're late.
That is so true. My grandfather told me this, and I've always taken it to heart. He said, if you're on time, you're late.
100%.
Because that's when it's supposed to start. That's
Correct.
not when you're supposed to arrive.
Correct.
And I don't think people always understand that, because every person I say that to, they almost have to pause for a moment and go huh? And then when I explain, they go, oh, yes.
Because you put your bag down, you go get a coffee, so by the time you actually, I 100% agree with that. And I think the younger generation coming up below us, and I think every generation has probably said that about the generation before, but the time seems to be a suggestion. It's super annoying and irritating, and I will sit and wait 10 minutes for somebody, and if they haven't let me know for whatever reason, I would leave. Yeah. And then I often get a call saying, where are you? And I was like, well, it's 20 past.
Yeah.
I thought you weren't coming, and I leave. So
it's almost like the ability to prioritize properly has just gone out the window.
100%.
Right? And they don't understand that if you, especially in business, right? And it goes right through into a lifestyle then, like you say, making sure you make time to stay fit and stay active. Making priorities is maybe not important for you, but the person that you're supposed to meet, to them it is important. 100%. So you just have to, out of pure respect.
It's the first level of respect for me is time.
Yeah.
If you don't respect my time, you don't respect me. And I think it's super important.
Exactly. Now, sports eyewear is Oakley is synonymous with sports eyewear.
Yeah.
But it's not really the only vertical you guys play in.
No.
What are the other verticals?
So, I mean, we started in 1975. So next year is our 50th anniversary. So we turned 50, and I'm almost as old as the brand I work for, which is quite interesting in a lot of ways. But we started Performance Eyewear in 1983. So before that, people were kind of using spectacles or pair of Ray-Bans or Carreras or one of the older sort of European brands. But it wasn't specific to sports. So in 83, we started Sports Performance Eyewear, and we're still the world's number one when it comes to that. But we realized pretty quickly that we needed to do other things. And actually, Oakley in 75 started with motocross grips. So the O grip was Jim Gennard and the motocross guys was crashing near the end of races because they were slipping off the ends of their bars. Now, if you've raced motocross, you know forearm pump is probably your worst enemy, and fatigue. And then the second thing is grip. So he developed unobtainium, which is a rubber, because it wasn't attainable at the time, so unobtainium, which is still used in our product to this day, and a suction technology that your hands actually stuck and gripped to the grip. So in a way, we actually started as a non-eyewear brand and transitioned into sort of the world's #1 performance brand. But what we do right now is we focus on snow and bike. So those are the two sort of pinnacle verticals, and then everything within that. So footwear, apparel, accessories. We call it AFA, which is apparel, footwear, and accessories. And we go right the way across to different sports. So everything within cycling, so mountain biking, triathlon, road, gravel, downhill, and then in snow you've got backcountry, you've got snowboarding, you've got skiing, and all the rest of those. And then underneath it we have a heritage in motocross and motorsport. We've got golf. Now we're pushing a little bit into athletics and running, and so you know we don't make swimming goggles. There's a few things we don't do, but yeah, my catalog's almost 400 pages thick every half year. So we do two seasons or 2 buys a year, and it's about a 400-page catalog each time. And often, and I think probably even you, the first time you came, you're like, wow, I didn't know Oakley did all of this.
Exactly,
right? So,
exactly.
And that's one of our biggest challenges. I always tell people we don't have a brand problem. Like we're pretty on fire at the moment from a brand heat point of view. We don't have a product problem. We don't have a pricing issue. Our challenge is distribution. Our challenge is showing the world what we have. Because we are overshadowed by Nike and Adi and Puma and Under Armour and Reebok and all the big sort of old heritage sports guys who don't do eyewear almost at all. So, you know, it's weird because in one way we're the #1 in one thing and then, you know, quite low down. And Nike has a similar thing. Their eyewear is way down low, but their apparel is #1, you know. So we always kind of, Nike and I have a, you know, we kind of similar in a lot of ways. But yeah, we definitely pushing into that space. It's the biggest opportunity for us.
Now, you have a great story, and I don't know if you want to share
lots of great stories.
But the story about when Oakley decided to go into apparel.
Yeah, so Jim Gennard, who started Oakley in the 90s, was very good friends with Phil Knight, who started Nike, and they used to party together and go on each other's jets. And there was an Oakley jet. It was as a camo. It was grey camo. You can Google it actually to see the image. It's crazy. And so our head office is in Foothill Ranch in California, and it's on a little bit of a hill. And we started making footwear with Shoe One, and Shoe One is actually sitting in the Los Angeles Museum of Modern Art.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's actually a staple piece in the museum, and it was made out of Kevlar, which in those days no one had done anything. But anyway, the story goes that Jim and Phil were discussing things, and Jim showed him the shoe, and Phil got really upset, and he said, "You guys don't do footwear, we do." And he goes, "Well, now we do too." So Nike went away to do eyewear, which hasn't been very successful for them. And I guess they would say the same about our footwear. But at the time, Jim and Phil stopped speaking together and stopped flying on each other's jets. And so what Phil did is he started buying up all the property around the Oakley head office. And at some point we were surrounded by Nike buildings. So Jim, being the person he is and being Jim, he put a pirate flag up on the top of our office. Because he said we're basically an island in a sea of Nike. And that flag still flies today on the top of our head office in California.
That's amazing. I always believe brands need stories like that, right? Like where you can see there's a personality behind it, where it's not just, oh, here's a brand and, you know, there's no soul, there's no personality. No. These kind of things just make sure the brand continues to live on.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, you guys have been a little bit disruptive again. I mean, it's probably, putting it lightly, it's probably another big FU to saying like, listen.
Well, it's not again. We disruptive by design is one of our pillars, right?
Yeah.
Like when we design something, we want to not just make something, we want to make the best of something, and we want to destroy everybody else in a way, right? Like, otherwise, why do it?
Yeah. No, but so let's talk about this surf helmet.
Yes.
Because that's something which, as I understand, you guys didn't even look at.
No, and again, it's similar to how I said, sometimes things find you, and it's not always you going looking. So we do surf helmets, we do cycling helmets, we do ski helmets, and it all happened around Olympics. So when Olympics was announced for Paris, and the surf venue was announced, it's not happening in Paris, it's not even happening in France, it's not even in Europe, it's in Tahiti. And Tipo,
Great waves, by the way.
Taipo, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but it has a crazy reef break where the waves are particularly large but very close to the shoreline. And what happens is, in order to create that mass of water, it pulls back water from the bottom quite a bit, so the water level drops. And underneath it is just rocks and coral. So it's known as one of the most dangerous surf spots in the world. And because of the big wave element of it, there's very few surfers that can actually surf it very well. So there was a petition by all the riders to say we don't want to do it, and the IOC said, tough cookies, that's where it's happening. So our sponsored riders, and Ito is the defending champion for Olympics that he won in Tokyo, and they said, man, you have to help us, we need to be protected. So we then set out to look at what was on the market for surf helmets, and the reason why people weren't wearing surf helmets. And kind of a few things came up. Number one, they were heavy. Number two, the water didn't drain very well. So there was always water in your ear, so it always felt like you were in a bubble, everything echoed, and you couldn't hear things properly. They looked ugly. And the protection wasn't always that great. So there's a brand leader who I won't mention today, but who kind of had the best helmet around. And a lot of them didn't even have safety ratings. So Virginia Tech University issued the safety ratings for surf helmets. And this brand has one helmet at 1 star. And we thought, I'm sure we could do better than that. So we set out to design something just for our sponsored riders, and by true Oakley fashion, we've completely disrupted the surf industry. So we've designed something that's, and there it is there. We've designed something that's super cool looking, so it's not ugly on your head. It's got instant water drainage, because there's obviously nowhere that it can get stuck in. It's extremely light, and we're the only 4-star Virginia Tech safety rated helmet in the world. So what happened is, we developed it, our guys started testing it, the word started getting out that Oakley was having a helmet. Pipe Masters was won by Caitlin in January wearing the helmet, which then got mass sort of appeal on it. And the IOC have actually got hold of us and asked us if we can protect their own people at the event. So if you watch Olympics in July, you'll see that they in red helmets. So the bright red is all the safety staff, the guys on the jet skis, the cameramen and crew will all be in a red version of this helmet. And I believe, my personal opinion, and this isn't an official Oakley statement, but I believe almost every single surfer in the world is going to be using our helmet. So unless you have to be sponsored and wear another brand, just because why wouldn't you? Like we took away all the reasons that kids particularly wouldn't want to wear a surf helmet.
I'll tell you what. The first thing that when you showed it to me earlier, and obviously we're very fortunate to have it here, is that it is really, really light.
Yeah.
I used to surf when I was younger, and we never had helmets. I mean, you know, and I'm probably going to show my age here, but we started wearing the suits. Because, you know, the Indian Ocean is so cold, you go in Collin and you come out Caitlin, right? So we started wearing wetsuits, but we didn't even think about these. But feeling it and seeing it, and you know, if it was available, I would definitely have worn one. So it's almost as if, you know, like you guys say, there was a necessity for it. You went into it, and then just in pure Oakley fashion, just manufactured something that is actually quite cool.
Yeah.
Even though you would think your normal surf guy would be like, hey dude, no way, man. I'm not wearing a helmet.
Yeah, I think a lot of the pros are being hurt lately, right? If you follow surfing on social media, there's a lot of guys that have been hurt. There's a lot of concussion things. The football guys have had it for ages, right? Rugby's had it for ages. Rugby's had skull caps. Cycling is now, you know, legal to ride your bike without a helmet in most places in the world. So, you know, having a concussion or a head injury is a very big, serious thing. And water's hard, man. If you've ever been water skiing or wakeboarding and you come off, the water's like cement. So if you hit your head, you know, your chance of getting badly damaged is super high. So, and like I say, if we've removed those barriers to entry, so if we remove the fact that it looks shit on your head, it's heavy, it doesn't drain water, it's not safe from all those things. If we take it away, we give you a cool helmet that's light, that drains instantly, it's going to protect you, why wouldn't you wear it? And the pricing is really competitive. So as a parent myself, if my kid was going to surf, she's wearing a helmet, right? Like same as my
100%.
daughter's on her bicycle. Even at 2, when she had a little plastic kick bike, she had a helmet on. And I think it's one of those things that the kids would have always fought back against, but now they're so cool. There's cool colors, there's cool designs. They're gonna probably end up now asking their parents to buy them something.
And I think for people that don't surf, they don't understand. If you get water in your ears, your balance is gone. You struggle to stay on the board.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, when you get off of that board, man, that water is really hard.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you forget about safety. Safety goes out the window. The moment that you're on that board,
you're worried about sharks.
you're just depending on where you are, right? But I mean, you're always looking for a bigger wave,
right?
Sure. And you're also not trying to stay within the group because then it's too packed. So you try and move away on your own. So you're almost placing yourself into a more dangerous position because you want to have a better wave, right? And I've had the consequences myself on that, which is why I don't surf anymore. So that's an amazing piece.
Yeah, and on that, the ear protection is actually removable. So you can either choose to have an open ear if you're in a place that you didn't think you were going to maybe crash too much. And then with D30 is a company that has their own technology on protection padding. We've developed the ear protection with them, and it's 2 reasons. One, you just from getting cut and scraped on things, but the other thing is from being hit and having your eardrum burst. So, the eardrum is not only about the water in your ear, it's actually about hitting the water hard on the side of your head, which could burst your eardrum, which again makes you then vulnerable. And like you say, if you're out there surfing or trying to find the thing on your own and you hit your head and you're unconscious, you can drown and die, right? So having something on your head that can protect you. For someone like me, we still need to figure out the suntan you're going to have from it. We're going to have to work with the suntan cream company to help us with that. But in general, most surfers aren't bald. I think only Kelly and myself, although I'm not a great surfer. But that is something we now probably need to address.
So what are the other technological advances you've made? I mean, and I'm not going to talk just about that. I mean, you guys have got trackers, but even in lenses, right? I mean, when I got the Prism 3 or the Prism 2 a couple of years ago, I didn't really understand even how important that was. My previous glasses, you get the glare from being on the road, especially here in Dubai.
Yeah.
Your eyes are absolutely hurt by the time that you get home. And the moment I started wearing the Prisms, it was like problem solved. Yeah. So what is the latest you guys have been working on?
Well, there is something I can't talk about for next year. You're going to have to wait for that.
Okay, we'll wait.
Because it's out of this world. But no, Prism technology is the best lenses in the world. And we keep saying it, and other brands might argue with us. But generally, you put a pair of Oakleys on and you go, oh, wow. And we have different colors for different environments. And they are put together and developed and designed specifically for environments. So we have polarized water, and then water would split into shallow water, which is more green and brown like lakes and rivers, and deep water, which is then dark blue and almost black in the ocean. So, Prism Road for cycling, we got Prism Snow because of the glare that comes off the snow is a lot harsher than will come off the road. And so our lenses are meticulously designed for purpose. So it's designed with a purpose in mind. And the Prism technology enhances the color and contrasting, so your experience as a user is just so much more superior. And then it's the safety aspect. So we test our lenses. You can take an Oakley lens out, put it on the floor and jump on it, put it back in your frame, it'll be fine. Yeah. And when I do it, because I do it often, people are like, oh, all glasses can do that. I said, well, give me your glasses then. No, I don't want to, so, and we have some cheap Chinese ones that we take with us and we smash to pieces, which, always gets the crowd going. But no, we do have, the safest sort of lenses in the world. And from a technology point of view, we always improving that. Yeah. Now Luxottica, that owns Oakley, has joined up with Essilor. So we're now Essilor Luxottica, and they're the largest lens company in the world. So they're bringing in some technology to us as well and helping us, especially on things like photochromics. So there's some new photochromic stuff coming soon, and also on Prism Gaming. So we're the only performance gaming eyewear in the world at the moment, which was developed with Essilor as well. And that's an amazing thing. So as an athlete my whole life, and as a gamer, because I still play, I was playing this morning the God of War actually, because I had 30 minutes quickly to myself. But it's, I always struggled with like gamers being athletes, because it was, you know, that stereotype of sort of a pimpled guy in the basement of his parents' house.
Yeah, that's
kind
no
of
longer
games.
the case.
It's no longer the case. And I think even my mom's a gamer, because if you have a mobile and you have a game on your mobile, whether it's Candy Crush or Royal Flush or whatever you play, even just cards, playing blackjack, playing solitaire, you're a gamer, right?
Yeah.
So all of us, almost 99% of the world, I believe now, are gamers. And so we've developed product which again enhances color and contrast for gaming. And by default, we got night driving certification in America as well, which is some random fact for them as well. But they really, really make a difference. And even just for people working on screens all day, so I use them all day at the computer, and it just relaxes the eyes.
Yeah.
It just, you know, you're able to concentrate for longer. And, you know, if you can play longer, you're going to outperform your opponent in the gaming arena. And gaming is going to soon be at Olympics. So we've been championing getting gaming into the Olympics. We should have it there by 28. It'll probably be the show sport for LA Olympics, where we're the official sponsor of. So Oakley is actually a sponsor of that Olympics in LA, which is where my Californian head office with a pirate flag is. So yeah, we continually looking at doing things better. And then for next year, we have a major story coming. Two major stories, one on lenses and one on actually frames and how they work with your face. And again, we're going to take another 3 steps ahead of everybody else. So that's it. Next year, stay tuned. Our 50th year is going to be wild.
Oh, we look forward to that.
We have even, I mean, I'm not often lost for words in anything. And I sat looking at the presentation and they said, so what do you think? And I was like my brain was still trying to kind of process what I'd seen. So it's an extreme, and I got goosebumps thinking about it. Man, we're going to do some cool stuff.
You shouldn't have said that,
year.
because now I'm constantly going to think about it. What are you guys going to do?
No,
we need to have a conversation when the cameras are off.
Sure, maybe I can show you a few things. But no, next year is going to be big. I think we've kind of, when Luxottica brought us over, we kind of lost a little bit of that Oakleyness and a bit of our DNA and kind of who we were, and we got lost in this big sort of global corporate. And over the last sort of, I would say, 5 years, Oakley's really started to find itself again and gone back to its roots as a sports performance brand. Touching back on with all of our heritage, we have a product called Museum, MUZM, which is bringing back some of the old stuff from the past. Okay. Just for collectors, for kind of reminding people and the youth, because, you know, I'm in my mid-40s. I remember the 90s. Not all of it, but a lot of it. You know, where the kids today have never seen a Medusa, or they've never seen Over the Tops, or they never saw the leather Romeos that Jordan wore, you know, kind of thing. So it's good to just kind of remind people of that, but we don't want to be stuck being reliant on only old products. So we have to develop what the new generation is going to love and see, which we're busy with as well. But we've just found our groove again, and that's when the brand heat has picked up, and that's where the youth are responding to it. And the kind of be who you are movement, which was started by us, is like, it's okay to be whatever and whoever you want to be. Go be comfortable with that, go out into the world like that. And we're a brand that supports that and understands that, and, you know, works with community and inclusivity and all those kind of things which are important today. So yeah, it's super exciting that we can now also push forward again, because I think for a while we kind of sat still and a lot of brands caught up to us. But next year we're gonna, it's almost like Star Trek when they put the hyperdrive on and just see that and the spaceship's gone. We are going to be doing that next year in the industry.
Well, that's amazing. We're really looking forward to it. I want to thank you for your time. I know we've probably taken a little bit longer than what we were supposed to,
Always
but it's been a blast. It's always great to see you. And thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, pleasure, man. I'm always happy to talk sport and talk Oakley.
Whenever we talk to a successful brand, there's one common denominator, and that is that the leaders at the top are very passionate about what they do, and that as an individual in a company, they share the same values. Collin and Oakley have that kind of sharing of the same values. They both like being disruptive, and they don't really care about what the opposition is doing or the competition's doing. They only care about what they want to do it, and then they go and they do it really well. And I like that.